With 3 rounds to go, we saw this hand, which was quite boring to go through, but we were kind of at the mercy of our opponents. Joel opened what I believe to be a very good normal weak two bid. I mean, it is 6-5, but there's no really better bid available, and it's not like with spades and clubs, his hand is going to get any easier to bid later as a passed hand. Sometimes, if let's say you had clubs and diamonds in 6-5, you could be better off passing, but because you can come in with an unusual two-note trump later. With this hand, it's unlikely to get easier. It might go a heart past a no trump, and you might get to bid Michaels. But with the six spade, I really like opening two spades. Later, he's going to have to treat his hand as a very, very strong hand because he has obviously quite unexpected distribution and also two aces and two. It's a very strong hand. If I have a spade fit, like even I think with his hand, the old saying is don't preempt and bid again. I think with his hand, if it went two spades past, three spades past, that he has no choice but to raise with his hand to four spades, because once he has a fit, his hand is worth far more than a weak two bid. So as you can see, they overcalled three hearts, an aggressive three heart overcall. They only have an 11 count. It's borderline. Probably not my choice, but because that hand is the one with the doubleton spade. It's sometimes going to be very important that they act, because if their partner's in the balancing seat with length in spades, then they might have a difficult bid. On this actual hand, they didn't have such a difficult bid. They would have balanced two no trump. But in general, the person with short spades, because they've opened two spades, is the one who should be making an aggressive action. And anytime you have length in preemptor's suit, and you see your partner acted, you have to be aware that they might have acted with shortness, like been a little bit extra aggressive because they have shortness in declared suit. So after that, the opponents just did great. They, rather than bidding four hearts, they bid three no trump, which there was nothing much to the play. They were just off three aces, and they made four for a very good board. The next hand, the opponents threw a curveball at us and opened a 10-12 no trump, and I picked up this hand, which have a very nice hand, but unfortunately, when your opponents open a 10-12 no trump and you overcall vulnerable, you and your partner need to be very concerned that you might still have a game. So overcalling, even though I have good distribution and a nice quality suit, overcalling with only 6 points is just so likely to get me in trouble. It's just I can expect that either my left-hand opponent is going to be bidding a game, or my partner is going to raise me or just punish me for coming in. So I don't see an upside to entering the auction here. If I was playing against a strong no trump, and especially if I was not vulnerable, I would be entering with this. But vulnerable, it's still just not enough. So I passed, and it went three diamonds to play, and partner doubled, and it went past. Now, partner's double is takeout, except for I have a singleton diamond, so I know that partner's mostly doubling because they just have too strong of a hand to pass. And so even though they may not have a big spade fit, I feel like opposite most 18-point hands, 17-point hands, I'm going to make game, and bidding three spades would be something that I would do if I had maybe four spades or five spades and a weak hand. This, to me, my playing strength was just so strong that I felt like I was worth a four-spade bid. So I bid four spades, and that ended the auction, and the opponents led the two clubs, and Dummy came down with just the worst dummy possible. I mean, he had 16 points. He had 2 points wasted in clubs, 3 points wasted in diamonds. He essentially had the queen jack of spades were useless or nearly useless to me because the ace and king were going to pull the opponent's trumps. And finally, he didn't even have the 10 of hearts so that I could have a decent shot at playing hearts for no loser. So I feel like I caught an unlucky hand. Four spades seems like a normal bid, and so now we're too high. But we still have a shot to make it here. After the opponents take their two clubs and a diamond, we have no spade losers, so all we have to do is play hearts for no losers. And there's only one way to play the suit for no losers. Well, it starts out with one way, and that's by playing low to the jack. And when you play low to the jack and then cash the ace, if East had doubleton king, it's going to fall and you're not going to lose any tricks. But there's one extra thing about this suit combination, is if you play low to the jack and West drops the 9 or the 10, you're going to have to decide now whether to come back to your hand and play the queen of hearts, trying to pin West's 10-9 doubleton. Now, a good defender with West's hand, if they had 10-9 little, would play the 10 or the 9 all the time. And so usually you would just play low to the jack ace. It's against an expert opponent or even an advanced opponent, because a lot of people have seen this. But if you haven't seen the Sioux combination, remembering to play the 9 or 10 from 10-9 third from West is extremely important. Now, on the actual layout, the King of Hearts was just offside, so we went down 1, and that wasn't too good because we only had 16 ups at 6. So, not a good round against those guys. They hurt us quite a bit. And on to round number 12. Board 13, we had a mundane auction again of 1 spade past 2 spades. Now, I love declaring contracts after 1 spade past 2 spades, because this is one of those auctions where it's whether your opponents, what they didn't bid gives you a lot of information. So they led the 2 of diamonds, and dummy hit with only 5 points. Now, just to back up the auction, East actually hesitated for quite a bit before passing out 2 spades. But now, when dummy hits with 5 points and I have 13, the opponents have more than half the deck and only 4 spades. So it just seems so unlikely that one of them actually has a singleton spade, because either one of them with a singleton spade probably had the strength to act. But in general in this auction is what you want to do is, if you can discover that one hand has a lot of high cards, then you can really be sure that the hand with a lot of high cards does not have shortness in spades. So when you're deciding, like as you can see in my spade suit, I have ace 10 fifth facing king jack fourth. I have to decide where the queen of spades is. I have 9 of them, so my default would have been to play for the drop. But anytime you have a piece of information that would lead you towards finessing, the math is so close that you would just take the finesse. So let's say, for instance, if I start playing the hand and I notice that West has the ace king of hearts, the ace of diamonds, and the ace of clubs. Now I would know for sure that West does not have a singleton spade. So it would be much more likely for him to have 3 spades, or he doesn't. I know for sure he doesn't even have a doubleton spade. So I would just, if I found that information out, I would just play a spade to the king and a spade to the 10. So let's see. I'm probably going to get to find out quite a bit about the high cards, and maybe my opinion of how to play the spades will change. But my initial instinct when they both don't act here is that spades are so likely to be 2-2. So they led the 2 of diamonds third and fifth, and it went to the ace. And they return a heart to the jack and ace. Okay, so far the red aces are split. And they played a heart back to the king, so now West is shut up with the ace of diamonds and the king of hearts. But ace of diamonds, king of hearts is not really enough information to let me believe that he didn't act because he has spade length. So the 9 of hearts came back, and I roughed it, and since I didn't have any specific reason to play spades differently than playing for 2-2, and by the way, another consideration is in a match point field, everybody knows or is taught that 8 ever, 9 never, and so the room, if they're declaring in spades, is going to play ace-king. Now, we've done particularly well here, or our opponents have done particularly badly by not competing and pushing us up to 3 spades. We have a 9-card fit. It looks like they're going to make a 3-level contract, even if spades are 2-2. That's 2 spades and a diamond for us, and maybe a club. And so if spades are 3-1, then they're only going to lose 1 spade. So it's really good for us that they didn't compete. And essentially, I just want to do what the field is doing, because I think that I'm playing a level lower than a considerable chunk of the field. So I'm not going to be finessing on this hand. So once I'm not going to be finessing, I want to play clubs from dummy. So I played the king of diamonds just to take away some exit cards from them. Since that entry could never matter in my hand, even though I don't know if it matters, I just pulled it out. That sort of routine energy saving. I didn't spend a lot of energy thinking about whether I needed to strip the hand out for an end play or anything. I just knew that the king of diamonds couldn't cost me, and it could only help me. So ace of spades and spade to king, and as I believe, they were 2-2. And now I made a slightly inferior play looking back. I led the 9 of clubs from dummy, and it was wrong because West could have had queen doubleton or jack doubleton. Now, I don't remember my reasoning at the time, but maybe I decided that East could not have Ace Jack third or Ace Queen third and not have balance, given that they hesitated. It just seemed like the hand that they actually ended up having, now that we see the Ace of Clubs, was so weak that if they had the Ace of Clubs, they definitely would have been balancing. So now when they did play back the Eight of Clubs, as you can see, I just stuck in the 10 because now at this point I was cold no matter what the situation is. If the 10 won, then great, and if it lost, then I just had the rest. So it was important for me not to go up with the King of Clubs. That would have been a dumb play. Okay, and now to board 14. Board 14 began with East opening 1 heart, and I really liked. You see that they have 17 points and 5 hearts. I'm a very big fan of opening 1 no trump with 5 card majors, but this hand is way too strong for opening 1 no. You have 17. You have a great heart suit, and you have a perfectly good hand to open a heart and over 1 no trump bid 2 no trump, or over 1 spade bid 2 no trump, just to show 18-19, and it's just too strong to open 1 no. So in 1 heart, and Joel overcalled 3 diamonds, and it doesn't matter that he has a 4 card major on the outside. I really like his 3 diamond bid. That led to West cubiting 4 diamonds, and now it was just a matter of right place, right time for us. Our opponents, who were cold for slam, they lose just the Ace of Diamonds. Had a Blackwood misunderstanding. They were playing 1 over a key card, and one of them forgot, and I don't know exactly what went down, but we'll definitely take it. And Joel actually didn't lead the diamonds, so they made 5-10, but that was still a great result, and we'll take it and see you next time.